Good morning, this is Intuitive Anna Priscilla, and I'm so excited to bring you this unboxing video and my little review of the Siren song. This is a dual deck kit. It has Lenormand and Kipper cards, and it is absolutely beautiful. So this came yesterday. It's only been out since the 7th. It's the 9th now. But it's one of the most beautiful sets. I have many, many, many cards, and this is one of the most beautiful sets that I've seen. So the box is a beautiful, sturdy box. You can see it opens, and there's a little message here on the inside cover. It says, "May the siren song guide you away from rocky shores and lure you into the dazzling depths of your own truth and mystery." So the whole guidebook, I did read the guidebook last night. I was so excited. The whole guidebook is written from the point of view of the siren and the sea. So the Siren Song Guidebook, a guidebook to divining with Lenormand and Kipper cards. And it is written by some of the greats in cartomancy. We have Carrie, Toni Savory, and Tina Hardt. So Carrie has been known for her Siren song. Siren song Lenormand, which came out several years ago. But she teamed up with Toni Savory, also known as the Car Geek, to create this double deck, which is Lenormand and Kipper cards. So they make a wonderful combination, and I'll show you why. So the guidebook is a beautiful full color guidebook. Has pictures of all the cards. It starts with the Lenormand. There's a little bit about both decks and their history. The Lenormand was created in the late 1700s, and then the Kipper in the late 1800s. But both come out of Germany, which is interesting. And so it goes through the Lenormand cards. Look at these beautiful illustrations. It's just the most gorgeous book. So it shows you the card and then tells you a little bit about its divination. Now the way the book is written, it's really interesting. It's written sort of from the point of view of a seafarer. So the prose is quite different. So that's the Lenormand, and then we have the Kipper cards, which are just gorgeous too. All of them describe each card, of course, but they're also got like water coming up. You can see here this lady is sitting in water. Gorgeous, gorgeous book. So so instead of journey, we have Odyssey here with this. So it says, Odyssey says, pack up your status quo and embark on a voyage. This is a movement card. So it talks about also directional cues. It points out that the Kipper cards are read directionally, where the Lenormand cards are symbols, and can be read 2 or 3 different ways, where the Kipper cards can only be read one way, but they're very much directionally oriented. It also talks about the difference between the two decks, with the Lenormand cards being more descriptive of a situation and the Kipper cards describing personal interactions and situations. It also has some different little spreads in the back here that you can learn, and then also goes into the grand tableau for each. Each has a different layout, really order, because the cards are different. And then in the end, it does tell you how to use the two together. It's right here at the end. So it's really interesting concept combining these two. So here we go, right in this section here. It talks about how you can combine the two. So I read the whole thing last night. I was so excited. And it's a really great guidebook. It does tell you spreads for each and the difference in the two decks, which is important to know. But it also points out that they're sisters, that they're both 36 cards. So the Lenormand cards have a little L on the back, beautiful, beautiful muted colors and cardstock. Cardstock is pretty thin, pretty sturdy. It's not laminated or anything, so it's probably not going to fall apart. The artwork is just gorgeous. It does have the playing card symbols on each card. But it's a beautiful cardstock. It's matte, so it's not shiny. So here we have a few of the, you can see a few of the Lenormand cards. I'm not going to show all of them to you because I want it to be a surprise, but we have the rider, so you can see that each one has kind of a tentacles on it. Ships. The house. Lenormand, and of course the directions will be perfect because Toni Savory is an expert on Lenormand and Kipper, and I was fortunate to study with her for several years. I learned Lenormand and Kipper reading with Toni, so the cards are just gorgeous. We have the bear. It does also have a dog and a cat, so if you're into cats instead of dogs, you can use that. And it has a couple of different combinations for significators. So that's the Lenormand. The Kipper is absolutely gorgeous. The Kipper calls the significators the Sirens. So here we have Siren 1, and they're directional. You can see Siren 2, and it also has different marriage cards. So if you're in a heterosexual marriage, you can use this. If you're in a lesbian marriage, you can use this. And then there's also a marriage card with 2 males. So that's a really different treatment of the marriage card, which I think is really interesting and really helpful. And then, for example, a few of the cards have been renamed. So this would be Get Together. And we have the Good Gent. So the difference with the Kipper cards and the Lenormand is the Kipper cards have a lot more people cards. So you have all the generations. You have the Good Gent and the Good Lady, who are the older people in the deck. So these would be the grandma and grandpa, or mother and father, depending on the age of the querent. Then we have, for example, the letter, but you can see all the cards have like water coming up, so it's an interesting treatment. The false person, quite different card from the originals. But again, the directions will be correct because of the people who are creating these. So here we have Odyssey, which would be a journey card. Just gorgeous. Mediator, this would be the court card in the traditional Kipper. So in the Kipper, the names have been changed for some of the cards. So I'm just going to show you. This is a child card. There's also 2 child cards. So you can choose the type of child you want to be reading with. The endings card. This is the coffin card in traditional Kipper, but again, you can see the water's coming up, carrying it away. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful deck. Let's just open the book and just read the description of one of these cards, because the way it's written is kind of fun. So this is the mediator card. This would have been the court official in the original Kipper card. And then the keywords would be conflict, advice, official news, legal action, or process. It says, pampered and powdered, swanky in silks and tentacles finery. When the officious mediator comes a-knockin', you may wish you had a double bolt. Imagine being at your berth, blissfully stirring a kettle of bubbling stew, then being startled by a persistent pounding on the door. 2 words automatically spring to mind. Uh-oh. While technically not a Kipper person, mediator can be an agent of uh-oh and tends to darken doorsteps. So that just shows you a little bit of how the guidebook is written. It also tells you combinations. So down at the bottom it says the combination of court, mediator, and military confirms a legal process. When positive cards flank mediator, this process, advice, or a way forward that should be followed even if the querent has other ideas. So the descriptions of the cards are really fun. It also tells you about the relationship of different cards and different arrangements with the Kipper. This is very important. So let's just draw a little card from each of the decks just to kind of give us a little message for today. So these are the Kipper cards. I'm just going to really give them a nice shuffle since this is a new deck. And we'll pick one Kipper. And then let's just do the same with the Lenormands. They're just the most beautiful cards, really beautiful. I just love them. I have a collection of many Kipper cards, many Lenormand decks, but it's really fun to have this deck. The sisters, they've been called, and I like that description. So for our Lenormand deck, which is, no, this is the Kipper deck, sorry, we have the marriage. So this is one of the marriage cards. You can see here there's 2 gentlemen here. And this is a wonderful message. It's like we have a great relationship. We also have the marriage between the two decks. So that's a wonderful description of these cards. And also our relationship with the cards is going to be one of an unending bond. We're never going to be able to put them down. And already I feel like that. I just love having the decks also of the same design, because I have, of course, Lenormand and Kipper cards, and working together with them is a little distracting because they're different decks, but this deck is a marriage of the 2. Also, being 2 male, it's a very active, I know that's stereotypical, but it's also let's get together and do this thing. So I love this card. It's our first card from the Kipper deck. And this is the Lenormand deck with the L on the back. And this is another card with 2 women here. This is so interesting. Here we have the 2 men, here we have the 2 women. And the garden, and traditionally in Lenormand, the garden is a place where you go to meet people. It's a socializing zone. Because when these cards were developed, that's where people would go and promenade and show their stuff and make liaisons. So again, it's a card of meeting others in a public place, but also a card of liaisons. So together, they're both saying, "Hey, you're gonna not be able to get away from these cards," and they're just going to be a beautiful combination working together, which is really fun because I've read both separately for many years, and now I'm really looking forward to exploring this idea of using them together. And you can see the cards work artistically very well together. So thank you for listening. I'm just so excited about this set. I know it's going to be one of my favorites. It's the Siren Song by Carrie, Toni Savory, and Tina Hardt. Now, Carrie is very well known in the divining world. She also is one of the first people to start charm casting with her different charm casting sets she brought out. Toni Savory is incredible. She's formerly known as Toni Pule. She's gone back to her maiden name, Toni Savory. She is the founder of the World Divination Association, which has many classes by Toni, which is actually where I learned to read Lenormand Kipper. Toni has popularized Kipper in the world outside Germany, basically. She has a wonderful book on it. She also has some classes on Udemy, if you like doing their classes. And then Tina Hardt is also associated with the World Divination Association. She's brought out some of her own decks and products. So 3 very, very accomplished people, great writers, great artwork, great design. The box is sturdy. And we have a wonderful marriage of these 2 cards. So get your set. I am sure you will not regret it, particularly if you read these 2 card systems. And thank you for listening. I'm so excited. Go order your one. Go order your set. It came out on the 7th of August. This is the 9th, and already I'm just in love. So thank you for listening. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe. I will put the references and where you can get this set in the description box. I'll also put my information in case you're interested in having a personal Kipper or Lenormand reading, which I have done now for several years. So thanks for listening, and I'll be back soon.